welcome to another edition of Talking Sports and Fitness with Zeke. I'm Zeke, sometimes known as Mike Zielinski. My guest today has an amazing story to share with us. Her name is Patty Kroppe, and welcome, Patty.
Thank you.
She has completed 50 marathons in 50 different states before the age of 50. Actually, you've run a total of 54, including your first one in Australia. Just the logistics of that, which we'll get into, but what I think is really cool, the genesis of this happened back in fourth grade. Tell us about it.
Zeke, let's see. I liked the colors of the political map, and so as a fourth grade girl, those colors of all the states were pretty cool, and I wanted to go to every color. If you know what a political map looks like, most of us do, and the geography. And so I had made this construction paper map on a poster board, and I thought I'd like to go to all the states someday, and I really didn't have a good reason or a know-how to do that. So,
but then there's a sidebar to that. Your dad was a runner and became a marathoner, and you kind of inherited that from him, right?
Yes.
Did he push into it, or you just wanted to?
No. Special man. He lives in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan, and I think he's 73 or 74. He ran 2 marathons in his lifetime. I got in to run 3 miles with him to keep him company, and it was so much fun that I wanted to keep going. And I was only 13 years old and the oldest of 5 children. My mother was there. She said, well, you're about to run through the ghetto, so you need to make sure you can do 13 miles because we can't just drop off. You just can't quit. So yeah, I did the half with him, and then thought someday I'd like to do a full marathon like my dad.
And you eventually did. I believe your first one was in Australia, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were living there at the time?
Yes, my husband got an assignment for work in Australia, and he said, will you go? And I said, heck no. I'm training for my first marathon in Toledo, Ohio. We lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the time, and Toledo's about an hour away. I said, I'm not going to Australia. He said, if I find you a marathon, will you go to Australia with us? And I said, okay.
So that doesn't count with the 50 states. So
no.
Your first marathon here in the States was in 2002, and your last one was in 2016. So you
Correct.
did all this in 14 years. The first one was in Detroit, and your last one, which you say probably the most interesting one for last, it's called the Light at the End of the Tunnel Marathon. No, excuse me. That was Kenai River one.
Yeah.
Tell us about the light at the end of the tunnel in North Bend, Washington.
Yes.
That you literally ran through 2.6 miles of a mud tunnel, right?
Yes. I think you pulled that one out because I stated that was my favorite one, and it was beautiful. It was a rails to trails on the side of a mountain, and someone let me know that trains cannot go up and down hills, so you're safe when you get a rails to trails marathon because it's going to be flat, but scenic because it was on the side of a mountain, and you just look over and big ravine and
so
beautiful.
You can't misstep.
No, you can't misstep because it was just a narrow trail. And but yeah, they gave us flashlights at the beginning of the tunnel. It was like a trestle railroad, and you pick up the flashlight, shine it along the way in the tunnel, and then put it down at the end.
That was your favorite. What was your most challenging?
Should I reveal that I didn't finish one? So that was my most challenging, and I had to go back to the state the next year and finish it.
Which one was that?
That was in Minnesota, and just like life, the metaphor, it's never what you think it's going to be. The cold states were hot, the hot states were cold. My hottest state was Minnesota.
Really?
And I was throwing up and overheating, and had to get the little bus that picks up people to pick me up.
Oh, you probably hated that. And with your competitive drive, you went back the next year. Good for you. The logistics of this. Now, I know you tied some of them into family vacations, and you've credited your husband, for being your emotional coach, and your children are now grown, but they were always very supportive. So they would go along in some of the, and you do combine it with a family vacation, but not all of them, right?
Right.
So, It gets expensive after a while, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the main challenge. The running is
Your husband was
least
supportive
of
of the financial end too, right? He was okay with
most
that?
of the time.
Most of the time.
I would kid that when this is all said and done, I'm going to say that he didn't support me, but that's not true. But we had our moments when
Yeah.
he was like, just go and get this done and
Because he wanted to buy a
leave
Corvette.
us out of
He
it.
wanted to
Yeah.
buy a Corvette, right? Now, is he a runner?
No.
Not at all?
A little bit. He started to a little bit in the most recent years, but didn't start out that way.
Does he ever feel guilty about it since you run so much?
No. We're just different like that. But what was I going to say about that? I don't know. I forgot. But it was he was very supportive, and one of my biggest challenges, it wasn't the running. Like I said, there was all kinds of little runners are weird. Lots of quirky things that I made up along the way, and one of them was to do this as economically as possible. And so I have stories of sleeping for 3 hours so I didn't have to stay overnight, and driving up to Hartford, Connecticut in tropical storm Tanya. And
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What else?
that was my weirdest story. I slept from 11 p.m. till I slept from 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. and then at home. And then drove to the marathon, got there at 7 a.m., ran it, and then drove home.
Now, Patty, how did, obviously it takes a toll on your body, besides your pocketbook. You've cross-trained with body pump classes at Colonial Fitness, sculpting classes at Flying Hills, fitness and stretching, and yoga has helped you maintain relatively injury-free. How much of a commitment was that? Because obviously you're putting how many miles a week when you're training for a marathon would you put in?
Definitely a low mileage marathoner, because I had other things in my life that were interesting to me besides running.
So you had a balance.
Yeah.
But you also had to keep yourself intact with all these classes.
Yeah, I ran between 25 and 40 miles a week, and then did the classes, and I think that helped keep me injury free. Plus, I think I have a little bit extra weight. I'm not like an emaciated runner, and I really do believe, because people that are runners tell me, like, how did you stay injury free? And I think it's a little bit of cushion.
I never thought of that. Yeah, because you can, your girlfriends must envy you, because you probably can eat anything you want, right? With all the running you do?
Pretty much, and I do, and it's not good, because you really can't for your whole life.
Now, was there an emotional letdown when you completed? Because, you had devoted a big chunk of your life to doing this. When you accomplished it, there for a while you didn't, and we thank you for sharing your story here today, you didn't want to share it at first. You wanted to keep it close to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Was it because you were sorry that it went, or you just want to keep living it, or what?
I'm not really sure, to be honest, but yeah, I running, it's just life. So I call it sleeping vertically. So to me, it wasn't, I'm just sleeping. Like if I was a real good runner and fast runners do short distances. Slow runners do long distances. So
yeah, and you're not in it to be competitive. You're just in it because you like to run and you want to finish. That's your goal.
And take a nap.
So you haven't run a marathon since 2016, but
right.
And you haven't been training, but the bug's bitten you again, right?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah.
Well, you have a marathon coming up, as we tape, unless you change your mind, right?
Yes, I did register for one, and that's sort of how you get it done. You just start telling people about it, and then you kind of have to do it. So I did register for one. I think it's October 8th. And you can always walk, so you can always find a way to struggle through it unless it's hot. Heat is a problem.
Well, that's why most marathons are in the fall, right?
Yes, fall and spring.
But you can't control the weather.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, who thought it would be this hot in September as it is here?
Exactly.
This year. And there's a club for people who do 50 marathons in 50 states. What do they call that? The 50-50 Club or something?
Yeah, 50 States Club. And there's also one, they had a little disagreement, so there's another club called 50 States in D.C. So if you really want to do one more marathon, you can join that club. And there's people that have gone through the 50 states 10 times. And there's the Marathon Maniacs. The 50 states isn't even the most maniacal of the clubs. There's some people that just do this all the time. Like, that's all they do on the weekends, every weekend.
Wow, that's well. What I like, you said that you had other interests. I mean, you had children. They're grown now, but obviously you were raising them, and good for you. Would you do it over again if?
I would. I wanted to do, for a while I had more continents than states. I had a better percentage because I started in Australia, so I had 2 out of 7 continents.
Yeah, there you go.
My husband's not real keen on that. He's
There's only 5 more.
So really, I like to travel, and that's the main reason for doing it.
You know what? I know a lady who recently did a 155-mile Gobi March race. It took a week.
I know her too, BK.
Yeah, BK. Horrific conditions, and I'm astonished. You know.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Is that a goal for you?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Everybody, different things appeal to different people.
Yeah. Well, best of luck with
Thank you.
your running or whatever else you pursue to do. Is there anything else athletically? I know you work out all the time. You might do if you decide to bag to running, or you're going to take another sport up, or.
I haven't thought of anything yet. My family is very athletic, and I would have. Yeah. Golf, no. Boring.
Well, I'm sure you'll do something. You're an active person, and we thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and best of luck to you, and stay injury-free. And good luck if you run that next marathon.
Thank you, Zeke.
All right. This is Zeke saying goodbye. Hey, don't forget to like us on Facebook and subscribe to the People Chronicles channel on YouTube. Take care.
These community stories are made possible in part by BCTV, Susie Ray Design, Queen City Family Restaurant, Lamar Advertising, Heidelberg Family Restaurant, Reading Air, Lions and Hole, Peanut Bar, and Kutztown University.